Oh, back at with a bang, back inside the box. Here is the dome, back with the base. Hey, it's your boys, BC Rafe Boogs on the BCX, the man with the stash, the man with the master plan. Welcome on in. Thank you so much for joining us. First time in the new year in 2025. It's time to put both hands inside the box. And Rafa Bartolome here, the New York Times bestselling author, and really my best friend in the box. Rafe, you got a lot of explaining to do. We need your hot ass takes on all things boxeo after your vacation in the Atlantic Ocean somewhere. I don't know, on a barge. It's cold. Anyway, Rafe, happy New Year. Happy holidays. How in the damn hell is your salty ass today?
Full of salt and brine, Brian. I'm ready to start the new year hot. Happy New Year to you, to all of the listeners and viewers of the BCX. I don't know why I like BCE, but we're good. And Yeah, no, it's cool. And the only apologizing I will do, Brian, is for not having finished the AI generated Dwyer boxing background image I wanted to start the new year with. I'm working
Well,
on it though.
since both of us, fourth wall removal or whatever the term is, arrived for this live stream with like 20 seconds to go, I can understand here. All right. I was not essing my pants like a live Luke Thomas. I was just trying to get this coffee, cream. Get on top. Yeah. First and foremost, before we get too ridiculous, before we get too bricked up over here, like our guy Ray, who's always loving some bricks. I don't know where I'm going with that. Did you want to share any thoughts about your old residence there, Eagle Rock, LA, and we have a lot of friends in the industry, of course, that live in Greater LA. I'm sure you have a lot more friends in life. What the heck's going on out there, man? This is a catastrophe. This is so sad to see on the news,
Brian, I hate it when you put me on the spot for serious things.
I mean, I made that 9/11 joke one time and it didn't work. But, this is not.
I'm just not ready. I gotta get in that mindset. Of course. I mean, so when I was living in LA until 2019, and it seems like something has changed in Southern California about wildfire seasons. Now it's like you can set your clock to it when the Santa Ana winds blow through each winter. They're going to be, fires are going to come through major neighborhoods, and it's super scary because I did not live in any hills when I lived in LA, because the hills are the nice places.
You lived in a great Filipino neighborhood. I was a big fan.
I love that neighborhood. I got no complaints. I'm just saying that, but also those hills are where the fires kind of sweep through. But you're never far away from the kind of environments when the weather's dry and the winds kick up and some kind of sparks fly, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it's scary as hell. The idea that that's happening almost every year, and people I know on the West Side and Altadena. I mean, it's frightening, and I hope people, stay safe and are able to rebuild as much as they can after this.
Indeed. Obviously, all jokes aside, this is pretty scary stuff. I've been reaching out to people we know that are out there trying to follow it all. I mean, everywhere's got problems, tornadoes, earthquakes. I mean, there's always, it's hard to find a place on the map that is safe.
Yeah. What do you got out there in Connecticut?
Sometimes we get hurricanes. Outside of the cold and the taxes and the gas prices, it's a fairly safe place weather-wise to live.
Yeah, I would say. The sick, disgusting individuals leaving Bristol doing God knows what when they get out in the rest of the state.
Well, I think, following the latest news, if you want to talk about sick and twisted individuals, we shouldn't be talking about Bristol as much as we should be talking about Fox Studios in LA.
Are you saying that the wildfires should target that little spot in Culver City?
Wow, baby. Wow. Right on the Beverly Hills line there. I once frequented that place when I was a PBC Kate on Kate host. It was great stuff. Wow. All right. Let's get
your hands out the box.
Let's get that serious stuff out of the way. You're already getting called out by the people here, Rafe. Can you face the music from good old Brick Squad?
Nah, man. Look, this is gonna be here for months, I think. It's not high on my priority list. We'll get there, maybe. next year.
Okay.
I mean, I don't look. I'll tell Brick Squad. Let me let you in on something. I don't change. I don't manually change the clock on the display in my car. I just let it roll. Like when right now it's correct. So when we spring forward, I'm just going to be an hour behind, and I'll remember that. That's fine with me. I don't need to worry about it. And so what I'm saying is a little bit of patience pays off. I wait long enough, and these things are early.
Well, I mean, it'd be nice if you, if you're going to go early, you're going to need a morning bird call, first of all. It would be nice, though, if you could transfer the Marissa Mayer paint collection, to the mantle there in the living room, I assume. But thank you. One more question here. And first of all, that guy, thank you so much for joining and supporting the chat here financially, this Inside the Box episode. But, what do you think about what he's saying and what Wash Giel said that time? Is Oscar a freak?
Mate, Oscar was definitely a freak. I mean,
there it is.
There are not too many freaks who have had their business out on the cover of the New York Post in my childhood or in my entire life.
Yes,
I'd say, Anthony Weiner and Oscar, a few others, but it really comes down to the true elite freaks. Say Sheik.
There we go. All right. Rafe, I'm so happy that I love you. It does make sense that you would end up in Detroit, even though you're there for your wife's career. But you've always retained that Midwestern saltiness. It's not quite John Fury. Don't try to reach out to me on this mobile brick phone, but you do retain this sense of, I ain't with any of this bullshit in modern day 2025. Leave me alone. Let me grow my stash. Let me drink my Faygo. Stop talking to me. Right? That's sort of the new Rafe, and I like it,
Yeah, look, if I don't have to have any more social medias, I'm not going to have any more social medias. I've got enough. I'm not getting any more attention on the ones I do have. The game is over, guys. Like, I don't care.
All right. I don't care about your people. I don't care about your family. I don't care. All right. Dave Sandine chiming in here in our early chat with the idea of Faygo, Luke. Luke, I'm going to call you Luke Thomas by a lot, probably. I've got a lot of wives in this game. What can you give us an update over the holiday season on your liquid crack intake? And do you ever dip to the Faygo just to salute them? What do you call those ICP people?
Oh yeah, the Juggalos.
Yeah, Juggalos. Yes.
I had a Faygo phase. The diet red pop, very good. Kind of looks like you're drinking. You got lipstick on after you've deaded like a 2 liter of those. So I do say use moderately. Right now, I hate to let Dave down because I'm drinking the Kroger Dr. K's.
Oh wow!
Yeah, knock off Dr. Pepper.
We don't have Kroger's in the East Coast, so
Kroger actually owns, I think, like 90% of the chain grocery stores in the nation. They own Ralph's, they own Vons, they own Albertsons. I don't know what you got out there in Connecticut.
I'll tell you,
own that too.
Yo, we're representing Stop and Shop if you want to go, basic. And I worked there for a bunch of years cleaning up shit as a janitor, so I represent that.
Okay, that's the street cred, but where do you actually shop?
We've shifted to Big Y. I never was a Big Y fan, but the quality's there. What I don't like to do is shop at the 2 super elite stores we have in town, the Whole Foods and the Fresh Market. You'll go there for specialty items like to surprise the wife, but you can't make a living and shop there. You know what I'm saying?
I tend to agree. Even with isn't Whole Foods supposed to be cheaper now that Amazon owns it or something, whatever? You couldn't pay me to set foot in those places.
All I know is I only go to Whole Foods to return my wife's Amazon purchases. So yeah, maybe there's a connection right there. Rafe, I swear we will get into the box soon, but do you have anything to say about the lovely holiday vacation you spent in? Do you want to reveal the island? What was it? Were you on Easter Island? Where the hell were you again?
I mean, now that you're playing it up, yes, there's no reason to. Nobody cares. But we spent a week in São Miguel Island in the Azores, and so it is Portugal, but it is an island. Oh, you got that postcard? Yeah,
hell yeah!
Like I said, I think what I say, I wrote like look, this is worth the jacking on Usyk-Fury 2.
Can I read this to the people?
I think so.
My wife sent this. My wife handed this to me and goes, "I have no idea what Rafe's talking about." I'm like, "You mean Rafe Bathroom?" And then when my kid's like, "Is Rafe Bathroom still alive? Where is he?" It says,
so many people ask that question.
Yeah, Mr. Excellency BCX. Believe me, if you were speaking in these jungle hot springs, you jack on. Oh, sorry, if you were soaking. This is your hand scratch. You would jack on Usyk-Fury 2 also. Double kebab. Much love. Rafe and the wife. So yes, I appreciate you sending that love to us. But to be fair, like the Dwyer interview on this show's history, you did jack from Usyk-Fury too, but did you watch it? That's what the people want to know. Are you ready to speak on it?
I watched it. I watched it again. I watched it with the lights off and the volume turned down. I watched it in a movie theater. I watched it in, on my phone. Yes, I have consumed this fight. I watched it live. I found a way to get access on the night, and it did not disappoint.
All right. Sorry to close. Wonderful vacation. Do you feel cleansed?
I mean, it was a while back, like a month ago. So now I just feel like shit like any other day. But when I came back, it was one of the greatest trips I thought we'd ever taken. It's a sort of a rustic, pretty rural landscape out there. So a lot of hiking, not like a super like fancy restaurant type of vacation, but god damn, it was beautiful.
Yeah, good. Same thing about your sexy
that
the people are still talking about over here. All right, let's get into it, Rafe. We are a few weeks old on this topic, but given that you have been day one-ish on Usyk, I wish I was better at working this here website that we use for this pod, and I would post that picture that I took of you in Hollywood in front of from a distance. Where were we? The Hollywood sign was behind us. What is that? Where is that place?
I'm afraid to say, what does that spot look like today on Mulholland Drive?
That's a good point. Mulholland Drive. Yes, you stood up there with the Usyk sweatshirt that I remember you telling me it took like 3 months for it to arrive and you thought you were going to get scammed. But you have been, I mean, that picture was taken in December of 2018. So that's like WBSS Usyk era. Did you ever, honest question, because you know my history, I told Eddie to his face that our boy Usyk would beat AJ, but really I was talking for you, right? Did you ever believe back when you anointed, when you handed off Triple G back to the people and said, now Usyk is my man, did you ever believe he would have 2 wins over Joshua, a knockout of Daniel Dubois, and 2 wins over Tyson Fury? Good Lord, Rafe.
At that point in time, so no, I thought I at that point in time they were talking about, after this he's thinking of going to heavyweight, or maybe he was just, he was in that transition phase where he'd already won WBCC, World Boxing,
WBSS, yeah,
WBA, whatever.
That great was a Richard Schaefer and Cali production.
Hey, right? Cali, that was like a peak Cali content. I enjoyed that. Anyway, yeah. It was at the beginning of Usyk moving up to heavyweight, and I always believed he could do sort of exactly what he has done, but damn, I didn't. It's so rare that a fighter actually pulls it off, who sort of dares to be great, like you like to say. Amir Khan dared to be great many, many times, and that didn't pay off for him so many times. And the same, I mean, even it's like it's almost like something I've internalized as a boxing fan now. The fighters who I am drawn to for whatever reason, whether it's something about their character, if they make me laugh, if I like their styles. I mean, and this is a range of different fighters in terms of styles. It's not purely stylistic, right? I mean, Triple G,
not purely skin color either, right?
Definitely not. I mean, why would you? The hell no. I'm all over the place. But like these guys, they always fall short, because I like the guy who has the talent but doesn't seem to quite have that quality that made Floyd impossible to beat basically throughout his career, or Andre Ward, or the guys, the person who has the complete package. I want the guy who's got just like a couple warts over here, But I still see the potential, and I'm thinking, yo, he can really pull this off on his night. He's better than all these guys, but they never do, right? I mean, something happens. They get robbed, or they get questionably decisioned, or they get flat out beat. The biggest night, they fall short, right? Anybody I've ever picked against Canelo, certainly Manny and Floyd, all of these sort of, I mean, and these are, it's not like those fighters were unknown secrets to anyone, but I'm just saying this sort of the hobby horse fighters of mine, they never get over that final hump. They get to that moment and something goes wrong. And Usyk it didn't happen with him. He did it. He keeps doing it, and he's great. It's a joy to watch. You don't know. I'm even though I know I can predict some of how he's going to approach a fight, some of the skills that he brings in to every fight. He also shows you things you've never really seen from him before every time, especially when he's challenged. And it's just. It's beautiful sport. As shout out to our blokes on the other side of the pond.
Indeed,
it makes me love sport.
And where else are you gonna get that kind of package? Only on this show, Rafe. It's crazy in this rematch because once again Usyk walked down the bigger fighter. He was giving up 55 pounds, 6 inches in height, 8 inches in reach, whatever it was. And he landed 43% of his punches in the rematch and 50% of his power shots. It's like, holy crap. But there was a contingency. I still can't find it with my eyes in terms of rewatching the fight that believed it should have been 7-5 Fury. Fury, saying in interviews afterwards, what can I do? I thought I won both fights. What did you make of the second fight compared to the first, and any changes or improvements? Because we saw a heavier Fury, but it wasn't like he committed to walking him down and trying to knock him out like he said he would.
We saw that heavier Fury, and I think because, his body was so big and so impossible not to notice, what he did look heavy. But for me, like the sort of the transformation that surprised me more was Usyk's body. I mean, weight wise, he's about the same as he has been throughout this heavyweight run. But he was more cut. His traps were huge on this night. He looked more solid. It looked like he had finally grown into the weight. And it was interesting because it made me think all the way back to when he was, I think shooting one of those World Boxing Super Series videos and discussing how he might go up to heavyweight in the future. And he's saying it's going to be this years-long process of changing my body from, this 200-pound cruiserweight into someone who can compete with heavyweights. And obviously he could compete from day one because of his talent, and he was big enough. But he just looked from the way that he carried that weight, he looked more muscular than ever, trimmer than ever at probably his highest career weight. It looked like he has finally reached, he's got the glow. He had like the heavyweight full package on display at that. And also with that size and the way he was carrying the weight, you saw, not that, Tyson Fury is not the greatest puncher in the heavyweight division, but he's enormous and we've seen him hurt other good fighters. And he landed some nice clean shots, some good counters. I think of that one uppercut, was it late in the 5th round, maybe? But Usyk did not look phased, right? He felt it, but he did not. It looked like he could take that power from giant heavyweights. And I think it has to do with the way that he looked like he is fully, he's out of the chrysalis. This butterfly is ready to go.
Dude, at 37 to walk down the bigger fighter, in theory, the bigger puncher, but yet in both fights, who landed the more telling blows? It was Usyk. And, it's like I was waiting in both Joshua and both Fury fights for one of them to just say, you know what? I'm sick of trying to play chess with the chess master. I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to muck it up. I'm going to be dirty. I'm going to go for a brawl. Neither one really did. And you remember that pre-fight quote ahead of this rematch where Fury told Mike Coppinger, yeah, everyone says, why don't you just walk down and attack Usyk? And it's like, don't you think I would if it was that easy? Do you think ultimately Usyk takes that away from opponents? Because I'm watching all of these great heavyweights just completely give their best, but it's not enough against Usyk. He's a real winner. He's got so many intangibles and skills. what would happen? I mean, Chisora, you can argue, came the closest. Seriously, Chisora came the closest to really giving him problems. And Usyk to this day still says that guy hit the hardest and he was physically the toughest I've fought.
I think that's very kind of him to say that about Del Boy. I also felt like, yeah, Usyk was in control of that fight, and he had this, sloppy, slobbering Chisora all over him for about 7 rounds before he got tired. But I never thought he was, it was a little bit of the Homer job from our announcer friends saying, "Oh, Chisora's doing it. This is fighting the fight of his life." It was sort of he was overachieving a little bit and putting in a great effort, but not winning that fight anyway. But I wonder. I mean, what do you think, Brian? With the second Fury fight, it made sense for Fury to put on weight and think, okay, I'm going to use this to be able at some point in the fight to lean on Usyk, try to tire him out, do those things that everyone says you should try and do. I think it is hard to do that to Usyk because of his movement. I think look, I'm not inside the camp. I haven't reported on what goes on inside the camp, but I would imagine that he trained specifically for that, especially before fighting Fury these 2 times, because we've all seen Fury be very effective mauling and holding and tiring someone out just by leaning on them. And Usyk, it seemed like he was ready when Fury did try and reach out and wrap him up in those big sort of, like long octopusy arms that he was ready to throw it right off and jump back and create space again in a way that other fighters haven't been able to do. I guess I wonder if Fury may have overshot it with the weight on this one, even though I thought
But that's Sal Pal. I think he shot his load flip.
I thought he fought well. I thought he didn't really look like he gassed out completely. He paced himself because he's a bigger, slower fighter. But I didn't think that his weight made him fight poorly, but it may have kept him from having that extra half step of quickness or burst that he would need to actually get close enough to hold on to Usyk and kind of dig the hooks in or whatever he needs to do to keep him close. And maybe just Usyk knows how to get out of that. I mean, Usyk, we haven't really seen a weakness, right?
The footwork's insane, dude. The footwork's insane.
And we usually think of that on the outside, but he clearly knows how to, maneuver on the inside and protect himself and get out of there against fighters who are going to try and hold him down like that.
Indeed. I'm with you on that. So I got an important question to ask you, because Usyk's the pound for pound king. He's starting to creep up.
I still.
Let me ask you.
You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that.
I gotta ask you because he's a pound for pound king. Some people are like, look, I've seen all the heavyweights. He might be a top 10. He'd compete with anybody in any era.
Who has seen all the heavyweights? Who is this? The same person who has like the Harry Greb videos? Like how have we seen all the heavyweights?
The hashtag Harry Greb heads.
Yeah.
But that phenomenon that we all do when you fall in love. Not with a podcast that doesn't exist and continues to resurrect itself. No.
Folks.
You fall in love with a band on the regional level. You see them in a club in your hometown. This is my band. Let me get the t-shirt. Let me see them 3 times next year. And you know what happens next, Rafe? They score a hit on the radio. They get a video on MTV, and then everybody likes them. And suddenly it ain't cool to be a Dave Matthews fan. You know what I'm saying? Get that shit away from me. Are you nearing towards the idea that you loved Usyk so much and you loved him first, but now everybody loves him, that you know what? F everybody. And F Usyk too. Is that where you're at?
Usyk, first of all, I cannot claim to have loved Usyk first. There were true hardcores on, the boxing subreddit, all around the internet back then, who were saying he was great. I mean, back in like 2014 when he was fighting, like his first pro fights, and then you'd see him beat some schlub in 2 rounds and they'd be like, this guy's a beast. He's never going to lose. And at that stage in his career, I wasn't quite ready to go that far. It was when he still had the really incredible, like single Stefan Saturday Night Live hair, but it was like the Cossack version where he just had like the rope of hair that we would paste down on this side. It was like fresh out of the Olympics, Usyk. Still dancing, still doing all that wild stuff. Looked like an absolute madman. He hadn't fixed his teeth yet. Anyway, those were the ones who were first. I got on board a little bit later. It was actually when he beat what's his name, that Polish bloke to win his first belt, Glowacki. Yeah, he just made him look helpless. What? Yeah, I believe so. Anyway, so I wasn't first, but I do. There is, and this is partly probably just my own personality flaws. You know, I have a little bit of that insufferable hipster in me. I know I do. I can't. It's just part of who I am.
Well, you were raised in Manhattan,
right? I suck. I mean, you know,
there's got to be a little. There's got to be a little undesirable on you, you
know. And so there is a little bit of this feeling, especially after the win, when all of a sudden the boxing scribes, the very important media people who kind of who counted him out when it made them more money and benefited them more, to say that Tyson Fury was unbeatable and the best heavyweight anyone had ever seen, or would give anyone a hard night, which is still probably true. You see all those people now, they're like, wow, Usyk is the greatest ever. Like, seeing all those kind of lowlifes come around, it does leave a bad taste in your mouth. And then the original, the real day one Usyk people are almost even worse, because they're like me turned up, like my hipster shit turned up to 50. And they're like, I knew this since forever. Usyk could never lose. He is a perfect individual. Like, you know, and it's just tiresome on both levels. I do predict that, and I'm happy that Usyk has reached this stage in his career, that he is good, that he deserves it. He has earned it, both in the ring, and and I will continue liking him, as a fighter, as someone I will enjoy, as a personality, all those. I'm not going to like dislike him, but being an Usyk fan is not going to be much fun for me anymore, because I can already see I can already see the same bozos who were, like kissing Canelo's ass for 100 years are like opening up the same exact playbook to be like, well, I think he should, fight everyone in every division and show that he's the greatest fighter of all time. He can't possibly lose. Like, these are boxers. They're all going to lose. They're all going to lose unless they pull a Floyd or a Ward, and they kind of, unless they leave before somebody beats them because they left early anyway. Or they just set it all up, right? I mean, Jake Paul, but he lost already too. Look, I guess I see the media machine sort of cranking up to inflate him, and I'm happy for him, but they're gonna say stupid. Stupid is stupid, and I'm never gonna like it when it's stupid.
Do you think it's similar to when we, as boxing journalists / podcasters / we love this ridiculous sport, when we get a big crossover super fight every couple years, and then you get the opinions from the national columnists and the, and the Stephen A. Smiths deciding that they're boxing fans again? It's kind of like that, right?
I understand that impulse. For whatever reason, my particular strain of hipster asshole doesn't mind that as much. I mind the people who, live in this world and will and still, and would still stab us in the back. The people, our friends who would betray us, not the people from the outside.
Fair enough right there. Quick question from the people before we transition topics here, Rafe Bugs. Let's hear from Luke Nocita of the Main Card Minute. Light or dark, Rafe? I think you've said this before, but the people, they want to know, McSorley's light or dark, or possibly he could be talking about women. Your choice on the answer.
Well, I mean, you don't have to choose on the latter one, although I may have a pattern. But I broke that pattern enough times. Anyway, I'm a 2 and 2 person. I mean, I named my book that for a reason about McSorley. You can get too light and too dark is perfect. You can make a little black and tan on your own if you want. If 2 and 2 is too much, you can even do 1 and 1. But I think most of us, maybe not Brian Campbell, can handle 2 and 2.
All right, one more quick one before we get back on the box here. This is from that guy. Thank you for the support of this here show. Rafe, they say you're a hip hop fan here. Biggie, big pun, Heavy D, or who's your guy? Do you have a guy? Like who's your guy?
Do I have a guy? First of all, I have a very antiquated 80s, 90s view of this. And it's that, like, even though I did grow up listening to pretty much solely, R&B and hip hop, Hot 97 all day, forever. I called into the roll call in 7th grade,
Oh, wow.
Embarrassed myself.
Did you know Funkmaster Flex personally?
No, but I mean, who's on the phone with that Lisa and Dre? Anyway, but I kind of find it untoward for people of my complexion to put themselves forth as hip hop experts. I just feel like we can't. It's a bad look.
It works for my guy Peter Rosenberg.
Look, he pulls it off, and he certainly has been involved in it since forever, right? Like, I'm not saying that like others can't do it. For me, it's sort of like I'm probably too much of a player position type person. And this is a positionless world, right? I mean, from basketball to all the weird stuff we do online, like people don't care. But for me, I try not to put myself out there as like, oh, I got important opinions on rap music. But I mean, Biggie is my favorite rapper. I mean, he just is. Like, I don't care.
He is New York, okay? He is.
But the big man, that is a good point, Lazy. And so do I, because at this point in my life, I don't get to speak to much else. But one interesting or one other name I wanted to mention when I saw that question was Chubb Rock. Just some incredible individual, like Posse Cuts. Chubb Rock will tear that shit down. Brooklyn Dodgers Volume 2. I saw there was one going around on Twitter the other day, or maybe it was Instagram. It was that MC Search song was one of the early Nas appearances, and Red Hot Lover Tone, and Chubb Rock fucking kills Posse Cuts. He's got that great voice.
I was not aware. I do though. I was aware of who sang Mr. Bobolino, Mr. Bobolino again?
Del, you know that like Del is
Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Del the Funky Homo Sapien is, I mean, one of my all-time favorite rappers. No Need for Alarm. I wore that album out hard. Like, I still remember every word on that album.
Do you still have hate for the Fushnikins? I mean, I got mad.
I just don't care about them.
All right. We're gonna get off of that. Okay, get off. Let's talk about the next topic to close on Usyk. Are you hyped for a Dubois rematch if he gets past Joseph Parker? Are you upset that Ring Magazine has named Dubois and Usyk co-fighters of the year? What the hell are we doing here? The guy's what?
That I didn't even see that, but that's stupid as hell. How is that? Who wanted that? Who asked for that? Is Frank Warren that powerful? Like, what's going on?
I mean, maybe it helps
kissing they're going to fight ass or kissing Al Heyman's ass, but these are the goats. Frank. I mean, you had a nice run in that 5-on-5, and good for Dubois. But these are apples and oranges in terms of accomplishments in a year. Dubois, overachieved and won a couple of big fights as an underdog. Great. He got his career back where we thought it was supposed to be.
Sure.
Usyk is out here.
Before Joe Joyce broke his eye. And do you know how hard you have to punch a guy? Roy Jones taught us that.
I mean, Usyk is beating historical heavyweights twice, historically, and making history twice. Yeah. I think, but Usyk Dubois, why not? I mean, why not unify again? It will, Usyk. There's a good narrative because of the low blow / body shot, whatever. Like, there is that side of the fight. And Usyk, can make a statement, or Dubois can really show that, hey, he's turned a corner and become a great fighter, which is not impossible.
I mean, I don't know if he can be that same guy he was against Joshua. Just will not take no for an answer, destroy, walk through, eat a shot, keep coming. But if he can get past Joseph Parker, which is not a guarantee, because Parker is also rejuvenated, Usyk Dubois too is a lot sexier than I ever thought it would be. Now,
absolutely. And look, I mean, this is one of the things. This is one of the narratives that came out that I disagreed with after Usyk-Fury 2. I heard folks saying that Usyk he should just walk away now, retire on top. He has nothing left to prove. Okay, that's true. Absolutely. He does have nothing left to prove, but he can do so much more. And if you look, I mean, he does have, because of his long amateur career and just the way that the sport is organized in this era, he doesn't have that long of a resume. It's incredible what's on it, but he has sort of like Loma did, he hasn't fought as many times. He's 20, is he 22-0 or 23-0 now? One or the other.
One of them. Yeah, one.
Right. So, and one of the things that he can do, and that Fury never really did because he didn't care, or because he didn't have the opportunities, or he can't sort of, blew too many of his early years, when he was going through mental health issues. But like Usyk has a chance to clean out this division, which we haven't seen, like dominate, do like a Klitschko Lennox Lewis thing where, and because heavyweights are different, right? I mean, like every heavyweight fight for Usyk is going to be dangerous because there's so many big punchers. I mean, pretty much every fight he's going to have, unless it's Joseph Parker, is going to be against someone who, their best chance is knocking him out, catching him with something that hurts him and changes the fight. That's Dubois' chance. And if he goes out and beats this row of, the next five best heavyweights, so what if not one of them is as good as Tyson Fury or even AJ historically? I mean, whatever AJ's because of his, I guess, personality is probably going to be underrated. I think he was a good champion. And those are very impressive
resume
wins.
Is better than his critics want to admit.
Right.
He had the best heavyweight resume for a long time in this era, right?
And it only got bad because he started losing to Usyk. And anyway, so anyway, I think that being able to show that he beats this, he does. There is no, surprise skeleton key for Usyk. Saying okay, like they always said, like, and I watched these fights on YouTube, 10 years ago, just so I could say I watched them. I'm not an expert on Ali's career, but like Ali and Ken Norton, like for whatever reason, Ken Norton, was always a fucking pain in the ass for Ali.
Oh yeah.
And people think Norton won. How many of those fights? 2? The first one?
Yeah. They think he got robbed in that Yankee Stadium one, right?
So in any case, the only reason we know that is because they actually fought. And the fact that Usyk wants to stick around and keep defending, his lineal title or whatever belts he holds on to, keep defending it against other top heavyweights, whoever they end up being, for however long we get. I think that's magic. I think it's great. I'd love
to see him in a Dubois rematch. Would love to see him against Bacoli. Would love to see him against whoever wins this inevitable Fury versus Joshua, even though it would be a trilogy against a guy he beat twice. But if they could put wins together and make it marketable again to be big, Opetaia might move up. We're going to talk about him in a second. There's a lot. There's still enough. Big Bang Zhang, maybe? I don't know. But, speaking of fat fellas who can fight, if you're Andy Ruiz, dude, get out of Downey Pizza and Wings, get back in the gym one more time. Is it possible that he could get, that Andy Ruiz could put it together for one more night and be an interesting B-side for something like that? Or what am I talking about? Who the hell?
Of course it's possible. We've seen it happen. Andy, he's I don't know how old he is now, but he was pretty young back. He's probably younger than we think.
Probably still 27. It's been that forever. Yeah.
But he, no, I wouldn't bet on it. I think that, and how, I guess if Andy Ruiz did get a fight with Usyk and did put it together and have a really good performance and end up, beating Usyk, being the first person to beat Usyk as a pro, that would be insane. That would be, I guess I would be like, I would start to wonder if he is somehow blessed, to have like 2 of the craziest upsets, happen for him. Obviously, he will be the one who have done it, so they don't happen for him. But it does kind of feel like he will be like one of the luckiest boxers we've ever seen in our lives.
Well, if not blessed, at least highly favored, suits Dior, shoes tailored, something like that. I don't know. That's all Raw guy BS right there. All right, let's get into Jai Opetaia. I don't know your viewing habits. I don't know your search history, but I do assume at least it's disgusting. But in the middle of the yesterday morning here in the States, but it happened down under, Jai Opetaia defended that IBF cruiserweight champion against this guy, Naika, who I thought was an Uber driver. Turns out he's an
that is a good little Vicious song, by the way.
Ooh. Turns out this guy's an Olympic Australian hero who was 10-0. And dude, yeah, Lazar, I know, Australia's finest, right? And dude, he brought the fight to Opetaia. They had a brawl for 4 rounds, but Opetaia landed the better punches, kept his form together. Finding out after the fight, by the way, that Opetaia was rocked at times and took some damage. But ultimately, I felt like he disciplined Nika in the second round with a big shot. And then in that 4th round, dude, scores a knockdown, pins him against the ropes, and just a vicious sweeping left hook to knock him cold. This performance, the level of opponent isn't star making or whatever. I mean, Opetaia is arguably the best cruiserweight. He's got 2 legit title wins over Myris Brightus. But for us in the States, we are always like as slow as possible to believe that somebody from down under or the UK is the goods. I'm finally here. This guy's the freaking goods. How good is he, though? This southpaw, age 29, power in both hands. Is he everything that he looks like in your eyes?
How good could he be under the tutelage of Glenn Rushton?
Oh, give me that rhythm step method. Give me that. What do we used to call that?
The broken rhythm scorpion method. Glenn Rushton, Jeff Horn. I missed the Jeff Horn era of boxing. Shout out to Jeff and Joe. I hope you're in domestic bliss together somewhere.
Yeah, right, Jeffrey. You're right.
Yeah, right, Jeffrey. He's teaching like a tough gang member right now. Opetaia, I mean, what the fuck is not to like about that guy? He does look like the goods. Sure, there is a lot left to prove. While the Olympic pedigree was impressive for Nika, and he went out there and fought, really gave a good effort and managed to, land some telling punches, rock Opetaia a little bit. I don't think he was ever like enough to take control of the fight for a moment, but he did damage, and you could tell he's a big, strong, pretty athletic guy. But Opetaia is just too much. I mean, the thing that struck me about those 4 rounds was the variety of Opetaia's in his offense. I mean, certain, of course, those uppercuts that he sort of unlocked in the 4th round that you saw he caught Nika coming in with it once, and then they had a little clinch, came back and just hit that one that basically ended the fight. I mean, what a peach. That was like Jamal Charlo, J-Rock Williams, beautiful almost
Ooh.
Not quite, but it was a peach for sure. But he was also landing hard and hurting Nika with those sort of looping overhands and check hooks and straight shots, and he really has an incredible arsenal and athleticism.
Body shots. I like the body shots a lot.
And a delivery, and what does Teddy like to say? A delivery method or something. He's athletic, fast.
You got to put water in the basement.
Well, there's that too. But he has the footwork and the speed and the athleticism to put himself in position to land those shots. So I mean, I thought you can't think of many fighters who are more fun to watch from just sort of like, this guy's about to tee off on a stiff level as Jai Opetaia.
He looks like, being with the Samoan background he has too, it looks like he's a real warrior too. So it looks like he's going to have a shot in these big fights. And with him already being one of Turkey's favorites, that he's going to get big opportunities. So I want to ask you, Rafe, if we can pick off the menu here. Here's your options. He has 1 of 4 cruiserweight titles. Zurdo Ramirez, El Turdo, your boy, has 2 of 4. Some other guy I've never heard of as the 4th, by the way, which is not atypical in boxing at the moment. But you can go unification with Zurdo. He could enter himself in the heavyweight sweepstakes here. There's some thought of Usyk wanting to cut back down to cruiser, which I don't think is likely, but what if they fought at cruiser? What about if Beterbiev beats Bivol again and moves up to cruiser? Although I'm sure he would probably want to fight Benavidez if he beat Morel, but I don't know. What should be the path if you were a Tasman fighter and you were representing good old Opetaia here to continue this sort of meteoric rise to stardom that he's on?
Yeah, look, I mean, he has a great chance of becoming a star. He can be the fighter who galvanizes the audience down under, the sort of the face of boxing, in that part, in Oceania, in that part of the world, in a way that maybe even reach heights that even Jeff Horn never reached. I mean, and Jeff Horn was lifted to the skies by male strippers in Vegas once upon a time.
God.
So,
yes.
But anyway, no, he is on a star trajectory. He has a star style. I think for now, unless Turkey, taps him in and says, hey, we're going to throw a bag at this and you're going to get to fight Usyk. If that comes, you take it, right? I mean, you don't know if or when that opportunity will be there.
To stop you for a second, the one thing about Turkey that I guess you can respect, although sometimes it feels reckless, is he wants to match people in really tough fights like today, dude.
The problem and the great thing about Turkey's matchmaking is he doesn't. You could tell he's a casual, basically. He's new to this here. He has not absorbed like, oh, you're not supposed to fight him yet. You're not supposed. He's like, that guy's awesome. I want him to fight that motherfucker.
Yeah, like Floyd Schofield's going to fight Shakur in like his second fight. It's like, what the hell's going on here?
He's the kind of guy who's used to being able to walk into a place and see a bunch of people and pick out two of them and say, hey, I want you to go bend over and he's going to do this to you. And they'll just be like, okay, boss. Oh, you don't think so? All right, maybe not.
You're talking about Ving Rhames in the basement on Pulp Fiction or what? Where are we going?
Dead, baby. He has that sort of recklessness, which I think it makes it fun. I think it's more likely though that Opetaia, stays at cruiserweight, keeps fighting these championship level fight. Zurdo is a great. I would love to. Zurdo, I don't like. But I give him credit. He looks good. He looks very
better
good
at cruiser than he was at 68 or 75.
He looks really good at this weight. And, his boxing ability, his volume, they shine more at this higher weight where he's still big enough to carry it. He's still big enough to take punches. He's big enough to hurt guys. But he's got a quickness advantage against a lot of people. I don't think he would against Opetaia, but that makes me want to see the fight. That probably would be the best cruiserweight fight you could make at this point in time, as crazy it is to say. I would love to see it. I also, who I sneaky would like to see. I heard someone talking about him recently. I think he's got his nose back into a mandatory picture or somewhere nearby. Our old friend from Cuba, Junior Dorticos. He's out there.
Cool
I don't
Ranch.
know how old he is.
Yeah, Cool Ranch. He's back. Yeah.
Cool Ranch. That guy, that guy hits hard. He hits hard. And Jai Opetaia, the one thing you will notice about him, he does have this sort of, he gets a little excited in there. He smells blood and he goes for it. That's great. It makes it great TV. But you saw him. That's I think when he got rocked against Nika is when right after he hurt him, he's coming in thinking, all right, I'm gonna eat this motherfucker alive. And Nika catches him coming in with a big, straight right. I mean, that's the, and Dorticos is the kind of fighter, as old as he is, probably can still deliver that hammer of a right hand that we saw just send people to hell back. Andrew Tabiti is still asleep. He's still on the floor. That was one of the best boxing pictures of that year. Remember, after Dorticos knocked out Andrew Tabiti, shout out to the money team, after he knocked him out, and Tabiti's just down on the mat and just getting just like the overhead view of that, him alone on the mat. It was one of those unforgettable images. Anyway, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
I'm in on Opetaia being fun. He's a challenge. He's a challenge for anyone, and he might be a challenge for these heavyweights. No, he's 6'2". It's going to be a question if his power and chin will carry up that way. But I'm starting to get the feeling like he's going to be okay, and he's just going to make super fun fights. But I might keep him at cruiser because the Zerno fight is marketable. It's a unification. He'd have 3 or 4 belts. I kind of want to see, though, if somebody's going to move up from 75 that, that's got a name. Basically better.
I mean, look, you said if better be wins. I think it's that path is more likely if he loses.
Well, what about the trilogy? Would we need one? I don't know.
I mean, trilogy makes sense. They may, but Bivol might be eager to go make more money fighting the PBC fighters, or just they're not because they're PBC fighters, just because they're bigger names, especially Benavidez. But Benavidez has to win against Morel anyway. But who knows how that works out? And also maybe at that point in time, Beterbiev will just feel like, all right, let's move on. Let's go do something different. I could see that sort of, that usually if you lose, I guess it also depends how he loses. If I don't think he will lose necessarily, but if he did, it depends how he loses and all those other factors that go into a decision. Like, am I going to stick around for the trilogy or should I move up and try another division? I think, but you were mentioning Opetaia at heavyweight, which does sound like he has ambitions to do eventually. And there were also these rumors. You probably heard. You love a good sparring rumor. I mean, you're like a false metaphor, a truther.
That's the sex of boxing there,
So what do you make of this rumor that that Opetaia was in Fury's camp and they had to send him home because he was giving Tyson too much business?
I didn't hear that rumor.
I heard it on the 5 Live podcast. So if Bunsey and them are talking about it.
Oh shit, dude! No one listens to more podcasts, more on the fringe of the earth of the continents than you. I'll give you a lot of credit. You are hardcore, Rafe.
And I guess do you know? And will I know that it did happen someday? Did it happen?
It didn't happen. I know. Well, I don't know. Maybe it did happen. I don't know. Well, I forgot the next line. What the hell?
I know.
There's too many sound bites. Dude, I'm so broken that I upgraded that old iPad to the next level of Apple update and it froze my damn soundboard and all those great sound. I mean, it just kills me. It just makes me damn. All right, I got to move on with my life. Okay.
I would look, if Opetaia winds up at heavyweight and Tyson Fury is still fighting in 3 years, or somehow they end up making a fight off of that narrative. I cannot wait for that face-off. And I hope that Opetaia breaks out Fury's own words against him, just the way that Fury got into Vlad's head back in the day.
They don't even need to fight. Just put him in a hot tub. You know what I mean? Right. Just put him in a hot tub. That's what I'm talking about.
Pay-per-view entertainment, baby.
There it is right there. To close on Opetaia, I did have something I wanted to say. What was it? Dude, I'm losing my mind. Are you into this too in your early 40s? Just one thought comes, it goes, dude. I mean, I can tell you every National League MVP for like 40 consecutive years. I can't tell you what I was thinking about 6 seconds ago. You know what I mean? It's great. It's really.
Did Hojo ever get one?
No, he didn't.
Mike Schmidt.
But I think Hojo was in contention in 91, but the Mets sucked, so he couldn't get it. He had a couple of 30 years before that.
Didn't he have a 40 year? I remember that when I was
30 years. I'm really broken about the 88 NL MVP race with Kirk Gibson winning it with that. He hit like 268 with like an injury plagued 26 home runs. Dude, Strawberry carried that league, but here was the problem. Kevin McReynolds finished 3rd in the voting and stole votes away from Strawberry. You know,
good left fielder though. Good left fielder.
That honky out of there. What was like?
get Kevin Mitchell back, man. Oh, they're handing that shit.
Remember that story that he killed a cat in the clubhouse like before the World Series in '86? Like unbelievable. All right, I've remembered it now. You know I love sexy sparring rumors. I want to reveal something publicly here. I know somebody who was at the infamous, famed Conor McGregor versus Paulie Malignaggi sparring match in Vegas. You remember that? You remember the release the tapes? You remember the big, it wasn't quite John Pascal yelling, "Take the test" to B-Hop, but I heard that Conor put it on him. I heard it. I heard that Conor put it on him. Like, put it on him, dude. I'm not even kidding. What do you think about that?
I mean, well, I don't want Paulie to come after us now, but man, I could see it being that way. Cause I mean, look, maybe Paulie is going into that session thinking, all right, I don't need to work that hard. I'm just going to, break a sweat against this guy. He doesn't know what he's doing. And all of a sudden you got this, crazy Irish, kickboxer, whatever the hell kind of mixed martial artist he is, all over you. And he's got power and he's athletic and he's big, just bigger than Paulie. I could see that going left quickly. And he's a jerk, right? I mean, he's a bully. Like I don't know a whole lot about Conor McGregor, but you can tell that man has some bully in him. And look, that clearly made him a very good fighter. But he doesn't seem like he would be the type to just go in for a light spar.
Yeah, great fighter, bad freaking date. But that's another topic for another day. All right, before we transition to the next topic here, that guy, shout out to that guy. I think he's a down under bloke.
He hits hard.
who is pumping us with support. So Zach, that guy wants to know, Rafe, what's your price for turkey? Like
I mean, I
turkey
usually
sweepstakes
pay.
is
I don't buy
offering.
turkey a lot when I go to the supermarket. I need to save money for my liquid crack, but
Yeah, you got to get
you
that
know,
sliced boar's head. It doesn't
yeah.
provide any diseases from it. Look, Turkey's offering bags to journalists, broadcasters, fighters, promoters. Does everybody have a price for the $1 million man? Could Rafe Boogs
Hell yes.
one day be in Saudi? I mean, where are we at with this?
I would rather just I would rather take a smaller bag from Turkey, live modestly, and not have to travel back and forth to Riyadh and Jeddah. I mean, like that's a long flight. I prefer to fly to the Philippines if I'm going to be on a plane that long. It just, but yeah, for sure. Look, it's not boxing and ethics doesn't mix, right? And I certainly don't. I am not here really beating the drum about anything going wrong in Turkey Town. I just feel like the people financing the sport, before the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia were, international crime syndicates, all kind, and then I'll go back in history, like the mob. I mean, it's a dirty sport. There's no reason to put clean money into boxing because it's hard to get clean money out. So you need to be laundering that shit. Or you just need an endless amount of money like they have.
Well, that guy likes the way you work it from down under, Rafe. So no diggity. He'd like to bag it up. You know what I'm saying?
No Diddy. No.
Sorry, no Diddy. No Diddy.
Yeah.
Similar. Also that guy chiming in with Rafe ate sushi off of an Asian chick. Is that an Andy Ruiz reference? I think it is, right?
No, that's a what's his name? The Bulgarian guy, Pulev.
That's right. Pulev, he gets handsy on a plane like Kovalev, I'm sure. All right. There we go. Let's keep it going here. We got a lot.
I'm a boxing fans.
Rafe, our boy Teo, and we were day one-ish on Teo too, right? I've been interviewing Teo since the beginning. Evan Korn, thank you very much. Teo's unhinged. All right. In fact, that guy had an interesting question related to this topic. Here we go. That guy says it, Rafe. Why are boxeo Latinos dropping the N-word so much? We have talked about this topic before. Maybe it's a New York thing. I mean, Angel Garcia used to, but let's be serious.
Yeah.
He is kind of race baiting still, not just Crawford, but Haney saying, you're not dark skin, you're light skin. He got called out for that. He is also reportedly turning down a pay-per-view opportunity with Subriel Matias that would have offered him a purse that was high above, according to reports, his minimum. And now, dude, he's openly putting memes out there, clowning Todd the Buff, asking Top Rank publicly, how do I get out of my deal? He teased yesterday that he turned down the Matias fight because he's got a really big fight coming that he's about to announce. It seems like he's doing everything to irritate Grandpa. What's his end game in your eyes right now? Like, Teo every other 6 months is going to win a huge fight and look like the pound for pound king and then go crazy and look average. I don't know what to make of this current stretch. He said his divorce is finalized and he's looking for ladies. I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff coming out of his Twitter account. Is this just what makes him great? Just getting off kilter and just getting off. Just get off. I mean, what do we do with our boy right here?
I try to ignore him is my best advice. Wait till he's in the ring. The stuff, the bender that he's on is not particular. I'm not enjoying the show that much. It is getting him attention. It is keeping him in the news. I feel like he's very hard to like at this point. And he's so the way he's talking is so erratic that I was thinking this morning, like if he hadn't already proven more to us as a fighter, if he were more of a pure creature of the internet, like Ryan Garcia is, where we can sort of see Ryan Garcia and I know exactly what's wrong with that person. He went nuts because of the internet.
Like, and he also uses the N-word to be
right. But with Teo, it's like it's hard to tell what drove him to whatever depths he's in the same way. It might be senior. But in any case, I guess like if I get like I was wondering, am I giving him too much credit for being even halfway reasonable? Like, is he just another Ryan Garcia at this point? I don't know. I mean, obviously, as a fighter, I think he's better. He has many more important accomplishments in the ring. And I don't think that's the question. It's just sort of the kind of character we're dealing with here. He's starting to I'm starting to just be ready to wash my hands and move on. I'll watch him in the ring and we'll see what happens.
Well, I already said it on MK this week that looking ahead to 25, if I had to, give out 3 fights to make in boxing that would get me the most excited. I'm not kidding. My number 2 pick was Teo versus Ragai. You know what I mean? It's like 2 athletic, powerful, crazy people coming together to drop the N-word with Hogan as the special guest referee right in the middle. I mean, it's wild, but seriously, like, what do you think for this year for him? What is the big one? What is he angling for? He was talking about going up to 54 to fight Crawford at one point. I mean, like, he's all over the place, dude.
I mean, I don't think that's insane because Crawford isn't a natural 154. It'd be like a version. It would be like Danny Garcia and Erislandy Lara fighting at 160 pounds, except with 2 fighters you actually want to see in the ring at the same time. But like, look, he's either crazy like a fox or just or a dumbass, right? I mean, he sort of has set it up so it's gonna be he's either gonna have egg on his face or he's gonna come out looking like roses. And I don't know if he knows. He's sort of just a dice roll. Like, if things fall into place where some big name fighter can't get whatever they actually want and the next best option is fighting Teo, like, we could see Teo in Boots. We could see Teo in Crawford. All of these, I could see these things happening. I would love to see those fights. Teo and Ryan Garcia also, right? Why not?
Hell yeah. No ditty to that. I'd like to back that up.
I mean, anybody, but like I also think that there's a little bit of fighters not wanting to reward him at this point for the kind of bullshit.
Abject racism? Why? Yeah. Why wouldn't they? Yeah.
I mean, they probably do want to fight him, but they also, there's that weird that weird boxer's mindset where they're like, yeah, I want to fuck him up, but I'm not going to give him the payday.
Sure.
The old Canelo strategy. So I don't know. I mean, like, what do you think? Do you think that this is going to work out for him? Because it very well could.
I don't know. I mean, he's really trying to screw things up with Top Rank on purpose. It seems. I don't know if this is just strategy.
How many fighters have tried to do this to Grandpa Bob? You can, if he's got paper on you, that you just say as much as you want that he's gonna let that paper run out. He'll roll a little joint in it and smoke it and kick back and enjoy his endless life. It's like they know how to deal with because every fighter, it seems, every big name fighter who is on Top Rank, by the time they become a star and their contract is about to run out, they're trying to get the F out of there.
I can't believe they parted ways with Shakur like that. Maybe they knew they had Keyshawn coming up, but I mean, I've been shocked lately a few times. Man, I hope. What if Loma? I mean, you're starting to hear that Loma might return now. What about a rematch between them? It's an in-house Top Rank card. But then again, it would have to be at 140, and Loma's already over his head at 35. So maybe
I think Teo's probably too big right now for that.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
He looks like he's trying to get bigger. Like, you saw videos of him. He looked like he's 170 pounds and pretty muscular.
Are you jazzed that he has been working, it seems, with Eddie Reynoso, trainer for Canelo, as I guess a consultant of some form? Is that a relationship that you think could lift Teo back to the form we saw in the Loma and Taylor fights, or is it only about what's going on in his head ultimately?
I think it's more about what's going on in his head. I think it also depends on how serious those sort of trainer relationships are. If they're training for real, if he's learning something, if they're helping change, helping him, helping his mentality as a fighter for doing something that is going to help him in the ring, which I think Eddie Reynoso is capable of. A lot of the great trainers in the sport are probably all capable of doing that. But those guys are also they're also businessmen. They also have professional careers to maintain. And they also know that sometimes, somebody just wants to come in and throw a little bit of money at you to hold the pads so they can take a picture and make it look like they're working on their game. It's like going down to visit Elijah Wan in the summertime and doing a dream shake, then coming back. I got a post game now. I guess it depends on the quality of that, right? I mean, AJ, was out here training with every big name in North America for 3 years, and what good that did that do? What did that do him in?
Yabba dabba do indeed. By the way, Akeem, for having a feathery, almost Euro game in the pivot, that dude would fight at any point on the court. Any point.
The 80s Elijah Wan had a short fuse.
Yes, indeed. And shout out to Saul, one of the realest ones in history, for joining in, and we appreciate you just the same. Saul, are you typing in from a roof right now? You're owning that shit. That's what I'm talking about, okay? These are my people here, Rafe. Let's keep it going here into a guy that Teo was trying to lure into a fight, it seemed, and that's Devin Haney. He seems to be teasing a March return. We're seeing videos of him working out. There was that rumor that it would be Adrian Broner on BLK Prime pay-per-view, dude. I was like, yes, because here's the deal. Ultimately, I think Haney, who has handled the fallout of the Garcia loss not well. He's taken hits for PR constantly. He sued Garcia, he's getting killed. Remember there was that thing with his girlfriend or wife with somebody. I mean, there's a lot of drama going on right now. But I do feel like he needs a tune-up, legit, because the biggest fight for him to make without question is this Garcia rematch. Get out of the courts and settle it in the ring like men do. But if AB was the tune-up, dude, I'd be all into that. In reality, against two, what do you want to see from Haney? Can he recover from all of the damage of that loss, which is not a loss, but we saw what we saw? And can he mentally put it all back together and still be, who I thought he was, one of the top pound for pound boxers in this game?
I mean, that we're going to find out, right? I don't know. You really don't know how a fighter responds to their first, perceived loss or actual loss until it happens. And if maybe it helps Haney in this case to sort of hold on to the fact that, well, no, it's a no contest. And I know you saw what you saw, but that's because the guy I was fighting cheated. It happened. All of that is true. And so I think that or it's in his head, like, he's been beat, right? Once you lose once you lose that feeling of invincibility, you don't compete the same. You protect yourself a little more. You don't take risks. And he wasn't
swallows.
And that man was not. Yeah, he might bottle it. He might bottle it. And Devin wasn't exactly out here, fighting like Evel Knievel in the first place, right? I mean, not like number one risk taker in the universe. But I want to see it. And look, if he fights Broner in the first one back, I don't care. Fun, go. That'd be fun. I mean,
Flair the Flair, whatever.
Because I'm operating under the assumption that whatever his first fight back, it's going to be garbage. So if you can make that, if you could, put some perfume on that garbage in some way, or make it so stinky that I just want to see how disgusting it looks, which would be more like the Adrian Broner version of the garbage, I'll take that. Just don't give me boring garbage.
Well, look, here's the deal. Haney is technically a free agent, right? Promotionally, he's bounced around of late, 2 fight deals, 3 fight deals, 1 fight deals, whatever. What about calling up Uncle Keith? What about getting out the flu? What about going to 47 and fighting Keith Thurman? What about that? Or should he stay at 40 and defend his title? Remember, Haney does not make 40 easily, just like 35 was a mountain he had to climb to make it. I feel like all these 5 princes, or whatever we're going to call them, are all going to end up at welterweight at the same time. So just go to 47 now. Don't worry about the weight cut, and let's make magic happen, okay?
I think the 5 princes have contributed to boxing about as much as the Spin Doctors contributed to music with 2 princes.
Yeah, well, they were so overrated. I mean, I might still hear that in a Big Y or something and be like,
tell me you can't sing that.
Yeah, I could, but I don't want to. I don't want to give them the love and respect. You know what I mean? There's just bands that you just can't. I can never support. I can never support the presidents of the United States. That band, remember that band with the peaches?
I remember the name, but it wasn't a bald guy.
I don't even know. Bald guy? Who are you talking about?
I thought the main guy was a bald guy.
I don't even remember. I don't even want to know them. I don't want to talk about them.
I don't care about his people. I don't care about
exactly.
I don't care about his life
or his wife. Thank you very much. I want to see Haney back because, dude, he's so talented. I think he's great for the sport in that regard. He's always, it seems, is going to have to overcome this idea that people think he's ultimately frail. That if he gets hit, he'll be hurt. I mean, dude, even when it seems like the only interview Haney has really done at length since the Ryan fight was that All the Smoke fight sit down with Andre Ward. And even in that interview, Andre Ward was like, what was up with that left hook? Could you just not see it? Could you just not time? I mean, dude, he could not figure out that left hook. I mean, and then also he got hit by that in the amateurs by Ryan. There's sparring video of it. I mean, is that something he can fix? Can he figure out how to do this or no? Is that not going to happen?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't mind seeing it in an actual fair fight. But I mean, I think that it's okay if fans want to question Devin Haney's chin because of the way he has matched himself or been helped, whatever promoters have worked with him over the years. Because he's been pretty conservative and cautious in his matchmaking and opportunistic when it suited him. And also, we saw Jorge Linares near the end, sort of a very late stage Jorge Linares.
Still handsome.
Still of course. Well, he's going to be handsome forever, right?
I love beautiful guys like Triple G, yeah.
We saw Linares hurt him, rock him, put him in some real trouble towards the end of that fight. And so, yeah, if every time a halfway decent opponent connects well on Devin Haney, he looks like he's in some trouble. Well, we might wonder about that chin. Now, I hope he takes the fights and does what and fights well enough in those matches to prove otherwise. But until then, I think it's okay to question his chin.
I do want to give him respect for getting up repeatedly and making that a close fight against Ryan. We remember it as a one-sided walloping. Dude, Haney won a lot of rounds after getting knocked down. It was similar to AB battling back against Maidana. People forget that he had Maidana backing up in those championship rounds. Did he not in San Antonio?
Yeah, it was a close fight. But, I mean, AB was such an overwhelming favorite in that. I guess Haney was also. But, AB was I mean, I remember, editing a story about how he was the next Mayweather, I mean, people his stock was incredibly high back then.
Yeah, it was. All right, let's keep it going right here. My guy, dude, I'm claiming Keyshawn Davis. I'm all in on that. This guy being great. I really am. And we're going to find out February 14th. It was announced the Top Rank triple that vacant title from Navarrete in very exciting, inspirational pro-Ukraine fashion. Rafe, this is the real deal. We get to find out what Keyshawn's really made of at the title level. What are your thoughts on this fight card, and what are your thoughts in general on this Norfolk native?
Shoot, man, I can't wait for this fight. I mean, it is a good test. Berinchyk is not he is not the Loma level talent that the Ukrainian boxing program has produced in that generation, but he's right below it. He's well schooled. He's still prime. He knows how to handle himself in the ring. I think that he probably doesn't have the gear, the extra gear, the explosiveness, the creativity that should give Keyshawn the edge in this. But you're gonna have to go in there and beat him. He's not just gonna lay down. He's gonna have some success, and he's gonna make it hard. And it's going to be, I think, a really competitive fight. And if it's not, that'll just announce, Davis is an even bigger star. I mean, it will be cool,
dude.
He's gonna win regardless because he's fighting, a little known Ukrainian champion on a top ranked card in the United States. I mean,
how freaking
and Berinchyk is going to knock him out. He doesn't knock guys out.
Is that the same thing that
W?
Is that the same thing that stopped Sean Zepeda?
Yeah, similar, very similar.
I
didn't think he won that fight, but he wasn't going to win it even if he did win it.
I know. Do you think we took an L for having to drive through Tehachapi on the way home through the snow because I-5 or 15 or whatever the hell it's called was shut down? I mean, that was
awesome. I mean, it was I was tired and it was kind of scary because I was like, oh shit, man, is this snow going to take us out? Are we going to, but we survived, and we listened to Art LeBeau all night long.
My God.
We were in Taco Bell for like a good hour and a half waiting for things to clear up.
You introduced me to the magic of Art LeBeau and the call-in show. People calling in from jail saying, I want to say something out to my honey boo-boo in jail. I want to shout out this slow jam to him. I mean, it was great. It was pure It was magic. All right, let's keep it speedy and going here. Deontay Wilder not going to retire, even though Stephen A. Smith was fooled by the new fake Michael Benson account that keeps getting everybody fooled. It appears that he will be not only back, Deontay, he will be potentially headlining a BLK Prime pay-per-view, baby. The rumored name is Stephen Shaw, the I think he's a Philly heavyweight. I called one of his fights in Ring City back in the day. He's got 2 losses. He's kind of a third-tier heavyweight, to be fair, but not awful. But what has been awful are the last 2 performances from Wilder. It just doesn't look like he should be fighting at all. Rafe, I'm going to ask you if he can, find the magic. Is there anything left in the tank?
I got a better question for you to ask me.
You know he's got a right hand that it literally doesn't matter if he's in a wheelchair. He can knock you out cold. Is this going to end really bad for Wilder, or will it take him into a big fight where it's going to end really bad for him?
Well, it should take him into a bigger fight that ends really bad for him. That's the plan, right? I mean, that's the idea here. If it doesn't, if Wilder loses to Stephen Shaw, if he's that far gone, then it's probably better for him that he doesn't make it into that next fight. I thought the question you're going to ask me, which I'll look forward to answering down the line.
Okay.
Is, do you care? Because I don't. Why should I care?
Dude, I'm always going to care about Wilder. He may be in BKFC one day. I'm still going to care. Okay. I'm still going to care. Come on.
I don't care now. I won't care.
To this day, Rafe.
I don't care.
I speak it. I believe it. And
I speak it, believe it, receive it. Yeah. Well, he
did
have a pretty immortal interview with that Fox Sports. I don't even want to mention the Fox Sports right now and a woman in the same sentence.
Wow. Here's a question from Lazy Bed for you, Rafe.
Oh man, well, here we go. Fox Sports, eh?
Okay, all right. Let's get that off.
Michael Benson.
All right, there we go. Dude, I still care, but I've got concerns, questions. His legs were so thin in those last 2 fights. His
legs have always been thin. What are you talking about, man?
Dude,
He's always had chicken legs. That's his body.
It's gonna end really badly, won't it? It's gonna probably end really badly. All right, there we go with that. Okay, let's keep it going here. Hey, big news last night. If you care, I don't know if you do, but the New York Times is reporting that for all this talk about Dana White, TKO, UFC getting into boxing, Zuffa boxing, it's really going to happen according to the New York Times, which is reporting that TKO, led by Dana White, will merge with Turki Al-Sheikh in Saudi Arabia, which will foot the bill on a new boxing league that is aimed at young prospects only, not big names, probably in theory, so they can control the salaries and make it more of a UFC style payout, which means small, but Saudi's going to fund this. TKO is going to make a hell of a lot of money off of it. They're probably going to end up putting it on a big network, even though there's no reveal of that. The New York Times story said maybe UFC might use this in their negotiation for their new TV deal as a larger TKO package. Do you care at all? Does this move you? Will it succeed? Are they basically trying to age out all the stars and restart boxing, on the cheap here? Like, what is this in your eyes?
Well, look, I'll tell you why I care. And it's because I remember, and maybe this was a product of a certain time and place when I was, of an age when I would just sit around at night watching, what was that channel? Either USA. Yes. What would you say? Spice? I was going to say Spike. But I had Spice.
I once babysat for a family, and I was related to them, so I don't want to say too much. But the husband had a Spice subscription.
Man,
dude, it was
I
awesome,
wish, man. I was more. All I would do, I would pull up the guide and just read the titles of the Spice movies and be like, damn, ooh. Anyway, no, but anyway, I remember. I have fond memories back in the day of watching those early Ultimate Fighter seasons with the reality, their version, the UFC version of the Contender, and I love that shit. I got into Forrest Griffin. I got into that. Who was that weird redheaded guy who got beat early on, and the really annoying mixed guy who was like a wrestler. And,
dude, I didn't know you hung out with skinheads back in the day. Really?
Oh, I mean, I got into the show. It was, the storytelling was good. It actually got me to care about, like the outcome of this show, really. And if they can somehow connect.
Short fuse Ed Herman, according to Luke Nocita.
Thank you. I'll believe it. I think that's it. Lazy Ben is disrupting the podcast with some of these lines. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, for whatever reason, it caught me, and I was hooked for a minute, and I got really into BJ Penn for a minute. That was pretty much, and then it was all downhill for me from there. But yeah, I mean, if they can bring, if they still, and maybe it's impossible to do that kind of show these days and have it connect like it did back then, because there's just so much schlock out there that follows the same formula and is mostly just worse. But if they can, then I mean, why not? It would be fun to sort of get introduced to this group of prospects who maybe I've seen once or twice, or perhaps haven't seen it all, and see if any of them actually get built into a decent fighter or a star, or get something, a little boost to their careers out of that. I think it's fun. The individual fights, like if you were asking me on a weekly basis, Rafe, do you care? Probably no, I don't. And I probably, won't bother watching them, but it's a good idea.
Well, what if Uncle Dana calls your boy and says, "Hey, liked you on that Callum Walsh call. All right, let's get it going, brother."
Well, I'll tune in for that. I'm always down for the BCX.
All right, let's see what happens with that. Yeah, I'm intrigued too, and a lot of the same things that you said. I like that they're not trying something that can't be pulled off, which is taking over the entire sport and forming a league. It's not going to work. We all know that. But let's see what role it plays in producing people that will fit nicely into Turkey's long-term pay-per-view plans. I mean, doesn't it suggest that both, meaning Turkey and Dana/TKO, might be trying to be in this for the long haul? Like they're going to give a strong, aggressive attempt to do this?
I don't know. No, I don't trust that anything is going to last for a long time. And like every idea is just, if they can sell it for, some TV rights now and make a buck off of it, great. That's what they're trying to do. And maybe in a perfect world, it'll turn into this franchise that makes them all even richer going forward. But, anybody who's trying to plan for the future in boxing is probably going to be disappointed.
All right. Thank you, Lazy Bed, for more ridiculousness. Thank you. Yes. Okay. All right. Enough of that. Let's close with this, Rafa. And what a great reunion, you and I. I mean, this is what I've been missing in my life the past few weeks, hanging out with you. I mean, we only hang out on camera these days, but I'm into it. All right. I'm into it.
Work doesn't bring you through Michigan very often. What's going on?
Not very often. Although if they can add me to that Salida DAZN series that is always putting shows in Flint and stuff.
Yeah, dude, you should go. I would go to those. Those are all pretty close.
Dude, imagine if they put one in the Masonic Temple in downtown Detroit, and it was you and me.
That's a pretty big venue. I don't think Dimitri is shelling out that kind of bucks.
All right, it worked for Canine. Let's talk about 2025. Let's talk about your hopes and dreams, but you gotta make sure you got ways and means right there. Whether it's a fight in your eyes that you want to see, a development, Turkey, Dana. I mean, what is your wish list for 2025 in the box?
Oh man, Canelo and Crawford. That is my wish list. I still want it. And please, I mean, it is going to get stale eventually. Those guys are not young. It still makes sense for both of them, I think. I know there are some people who say, "Oh, that's crazy. Who wants to see that? It's a little guy. He has no chance." Well, I'd like to see it. All right, and Canelo has done nothing to give any of us the impression that he's going to be ambitious in some other way and look for another legacy-defining fight against someone like David Benavidez or whatever important fight we would like him to take. So, if this one is too easy, go ahead and take it, because I'll give you credit for it.
I'm with you. Now, do you think, look, there are some rumors that's either being targeted for May or possibly there's behind the scenes negotiations. We know that PBC is in a very precarious spot this year. I wonder whether they are going to go in with Turkey, be anti-Turkey, only send their biggest fighters for the fights they can't afford. There's some idea or rumors, and it's really, I mean, boxing Twitter these days, I mean, it's always been an unregulated cesspool,
Yo,
but I
what's
think more
going
than
on?
ever.
What's going on with our newsbreakers just fighting with each other nonstop
dude,
right now? These guys, I mean,
our
is
boy
it
Keith Idek
how
is
much
like,
is there not much food left out there for these guys?
dude,
They're like fighting over the last scraps or something.
I want to get Keith Idek on this program just to ask him, like, what's going on, man? This guy has declared war. It's been entertaining to watch. I hope he's all right. I wanted to say, like,
It's like Michael Douglas and falling down, man. Defense.
it really is. It really is. Some people think that they could be trying some type of 5-on-5 like they did with Hearn versus Warren, but in this time it would be USA versus Mexico. This could be a perfect main event for that. Obviously, Turkey could fund it. He's working with Crawford before, but Canelo has been anti-Turkey. Could this be a PBC only pay-per-view? Would Crawford turn his back on Turkey? Not turn his back, but say, thanks for the bag. I'm going to go this lane now. Could you see this happening on PBC? Does it have to be Turkey related? Does it matter to you either way? How do we get this done is really what I'm saying.
Of course, it doesn't matter to me who carries the fight
Okay.
at all. I mean, I would love to see it. It's just, I imagine that making the fight through Turkey is the most likely way to do it, even though he had his little spat with Canelo and obviously their egos to manage, but he's got the biggest bag and he seems to want to spend it. And that, money usually talks. And in this case, I hope it does. I don't care if they go somewhere else. And I don't, does Terrence Crawford owe something to the kingdom right now? Or
I don't know how that works, dude. I really don't know.
He did one fight. He's how many? He's fought 30 something, 40 times. Like this doesn't, like, who cares? Sure. Like, go find a good fight, bud, and win it.
Okay, if PBC pulls this off without Turkey, then are they back? Is this the kind of we're back type of deal?
No, I don't. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, perhaps it could be we're back. It could just be hey, we have it could be sort of one last big score, right? I mean, like, so we're starting to, our company's life cycle is near its end. It was a great run. We're starting to wind down, but we still have connections to these two, great era-defining fighters. They want to fight on this platform. We can put it together for them. It'll make money. Let's do this. It'll be. HBO went out with Canelo Triple G. As the biggest fights of their last years. Of course, nothing beat the final night. Superfly.
Wow. What a women's boxing showcase they had on that final night.
Incredible way to go out. Shut the whole thing down. Lampley crying. This was my holy grail, Brian.
Yeah. I mean, Lampley's tears had tears on top of them. It was wild. My wish list, really, it's still, I don't care if people want this or not. I have to see Tank versus Shakur when they're both unbeaten and they're both in the same weight class right now. I mean, would you get moved for that, or is that only?
Yes. I mean, I guess with those guys, they have defeated me in terms of my hopes and dreams. Like, yeah. I have stopped dreaming for either of them. I'll just be around whenever they decide to do something good. But yes, I would be over the moon if that happened.
Have you seen the pictures of Tank's new hairstyle where he looks like Salt Bae, and then Tim Bradley came out and called him Zesty? Have you seen that? Have you seen that shit?
I did see Tim Bradley's pretty strange Zesty video. I like how Tim Bradley somehow turns every example into not just a story from his career, but always something based on how they are, like, about winning but losing against Pacquiao and
Pacquiao. Yeah, every time. Like, I love it.
They all said, but I didn't give a fuck. And it's like every lesson in boxing stems from that one night in 2012.
Dude, sometimes in life, and I've thrown out jokes on air in social circles and it just bombed. I mean, I'll never forget when I hosted the Connecticut Boxing Hall of Fame dinner in 2015, and I worked this whole preamble speech in the car that I was going to give to open the event that was going to end in this. It's 2015, okay? So athletes were done sleeping with a lot of women, but it was right at the PBC launch, and I had this whole 3-minute build to this one-liner about Al Heyman in the end. And I didn't realize that I wasn't actually talking. The crowd was not filled with people that are on boxing Twitter every day and following the news. It was filled with people who were like local Connecticut trainers and stuff like, retired fighters.
Waddell Reed.
Dude, it bombed like it. And I remember going, tough crowd. Is this thing on? And that was the only laugh I got all night. But I scored big. I was at Turning Stone in Verona for that. Remember when a
It's
couple
tough to
years
score big there. I've been.
Well, yeah, remember a couple years ago because of COVID they
I mean, you can score a big one anyway.
yeah, if you hook up there, it'll be a big one. There's no doubt about it. There were 3 Hall of Fame classes going in at one, remember, because of COVID.
Right.
And I was there to call for Showbox, and that was when Teofimo called out Tim Bradley like real aggressively in the media. And Tim was there because he was going in the hall, and he's walking down the hallway with his family and extended team, and we kind of gave each other an eye. He's like, "Yo, what's up?" And I go, "Yo, Tim," and he's like, "Hey, what's up, man?" I go, "Fuck Teofimo. Am I right?" Dude, like 30 people died laughing. It was one of these like, damn, I finally landed the plane. Sully Sullenberger style. You know
was Big Ray there?
Big Ray was there with him. Oh, yeah,
Nice,
yeah.
nice.
And he was like, "What do I smell?" Pussy. Yeah, it was. So yeah, I got a lot of love, hopes, and dreams for the future. Final question regarding 25 for you. What will you and I, boxing fans, people in our Twitter DM candy liquor chat, what are we going to say about Turkey at the end of this year? I don't believe that he's going to save or transform boxing, but will we be echoing what people like Teddy Atlas are doing now, where it's just like, this man has saved the game, this is excellent. I mean, are we going to be there in 12 months? What is it going to look like? Because he's about to do something really big, it seems.
I mean, look, from what I've observed, Teddy is somehow appearing at these events in Saudi Arabia. Perhaps someone is paying for his airfare and paying for any other comments he might make in support of these things.
Rafe
That's
said
all right.
That.
What are we saying? Sponsored content is not a thing? Like, how the hell do you think all these people make money? It's fine. Like, they probably believe it halfway, and even if they don't, whatever. So yeah, I mean, I would predict that you will be saying that, Brian, if you are working for one of the Turkey the Turkey properties. But I also think there'll be some truth to it if we have enough. He doesn't need to do anything bigger. I don't know if he can do anything bigger, just because are there going to, even if you have a bigger plan or you want to do some funny tournament or something, are you going to get 2 bigger fights than Usyk-Fury 1 and 2? I guess Fury and AJ could be bigger just in terms of star power. But what I'm saying is that, like, he doesn't need to do something more. If he keeps spending at the rate that he's spending and putting on these really, really excellent main events and often pretty good fight cards beneath them, that means we will have had another very good year in boxing. And that's good enough for me. I will say thank you. I will not seriously refer to you as Your Excellency or whatever, but good job. Good job.
Yeah, you're right.
Well done.
I think we're going to have a great year. I do. Will it kill North American boxing? If everything's
I know America First is in right now, and I'm not necessarily against that, but I don't, in terms of boxing, like, I like boxing. I don't care. Because look, when I was media, I used to go to the fights all the time. Now that I'm a paying customer, I don't go to no fights. And also I don't live near places where fights really happen anymore, except for Dimitri Salita. Apologies to you,
yes.
my friend.
Big fights.
Big
time boxing USA.
Yeah. So I'm not going to be at these fights. I'm just watching them on TV. I don't really pay that close attention to the crowd atmosphere at events, whether it's 80K at Wembley or 12 guys rolling in from Jeddah. I don't care. If the fight is good, I will enjoy that. That's good enough for me.
Dude, you cut right through the bullshit of this game. That's why I love you. You know what I mean?
This is my advice to anyone trying to follow this game here in 2025. Be a casual. Be casual. You don't got to follow every dumb thing that our newsbreakers are fighting over, because it's all bullshit anyway. And everything they're fighting for the opportunity to tell you 3 seconds ahead of time is something that you're going to find out in a week when it actually happens. And it'll either happen or it won't. The fighters who win will win. Those who lose will lose. It's a good sport.
All right. Last 2 quick questions. One, that scar on Teddy's face? Do you remember that time you drunkenly told me you've got the same one on your schlong? Can you confirm or deny?
I mean, I showed you.
Okay, that's disgusting. Final question comes from that guy. Thank you for your support on today's chat. That guy. Can we ever see Rafe in a BC and LT boxing crossover? Now, to be fair, okay, Luke left Monday's MK show live to go drop a deuce. Do you respect that, being that you once urinated in a bottle during a live CBS Sports boxing podcast that you and I were co-hosting?
Well, I guess I think it depends on the situation. So if I listened to the beginning of Monday's show, you guys were remote, right? Because of the weather.
I was in the studio. He was remote at home because of the snow. Yeah.
So when he left, I guess, yeah. What is you don't have an option there. I mean, you don't, if you had, it's pretty, I wouldn't shit my pants while hosting a podcast. That's what we're asking. And I think that if Luke did that, anyone who did that would need to get their head checked. I mean, I wouldn't even piss my pants. I'll piss in a cup. Sure.
Okay.
But I'm not trying to soil myself to finish this take. Let me get one more off.
I still can't believe that you were like, you know what, I'm just gonna go right here. And when I was like, was this we weren't live or anything, but wow,
I mean, I didn't want to ask for that permission to stop. I mean, there is something but it's a lot easier to do with a number one than a number two. So I don't think Luke loses any points for that.
All right. Well, maybe one day we'll all collaborate. But for now,
you guys do some shows in weird locations, right?
Yes.
Sometimes you're like in a hotel room or in a motel room, the Holiday Inn. You're smoking, drinking. You've got female fighters in there with you. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, wow. You're talking about casting couches. We don't get down like that. Yeah.
But what if we all did one from the toilet?
From the toilet, from an actual men's room, same men's room, or
the men's room sessions. There's good acoustics in those places.
I don't get down with that Oscar candy. Just if you're wondering,
we can each have our own stall.
Rafe's like, I got 2 words for you. Okay, fish.
Look, if you could be in the stall, me and Luke will hold it down by the urinals because we don't have that stage fright.
What does number 2 do for you? Or who? What's the line from Austin Power? Who does number 2 work for? All right, that's the show this week. Rafe, you got anything to say? We can follow you on Rafe Books socially. People damn right can buy your books somewhere.
And shout out to Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah. That's all you got. All right. McSorley's 2 and 2, My Father and Me. You can purchase it where? Amazon.com, maybe?
Amazon's good. The book, I can't remember the names of the other sites. Wherever you buy books.
Okay.
I mean, there's that new indie one that authors are supposed to say instead because it's not Amazon. It's called like bookshop.org or something. I'm sure it's more ethical, but boxing and ethics don't mix.
They don't. Purchase Pacific Rims, your love affair with Filipino basketball. And don't forget about basketball, a love story. We
got love stories, love affairs, and then my daddy and me.
The first time you watched Love and Basketball, would you have smashed?
All 4 quarters.
Oh, wow. Both of them, actually. Okay, that's it. That's the show. We're out of here. Take care of yourself. Peace in the Middle East. If you're in LA, God bless you. Prayers out to you. We're fans of you guys. Thank you for supporting us today live. That's Rafe on BC. We're out of here.